Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thank you very much for making some time out of your busy schedules to check the video out. It's always much appreciated. And guys, today we are going to break some myths. We are going to have a reality check on things that are truly poses a threat to bass fishing now and in the future, because I seem to be getting a rash. I talk about this a lot as far as sustainability of the sport. You guys hear me talk about it. And I always get a bunch of comments, people saying, oh, it's PETA and the liberals that are threatening fishing. Guys, there is no truth to that. That is absolutely not true. I'm going to identify the two biggest threats to fishing and sort of clarify that and make a case for that. And I'd really appreciate and get you guys' feedback on that too. I'd be curious to hear what everybody's thinking about that. And real quick, guys, one way, if you like the content here, what's going on, and you want to support the channel, I just invite everybody to check out all the links that I've got in my description here. All those links are some good ways you can help support the channel, so much appreciated with that. Okay, guys, we're going to get into this here. This is sort of going to be a little lengthy discussion here, Sunday afternoon discussion. The reason I wanted to do this video is, like, you guys hear me talking about environmental issues and life scope and future of the fishing a lot here on the channel. Inevitably I get people saying, oh, it's PETA and the liberals, blah blah blah. Guys, there's zero truth to that. I've been around a lot of the PETA people. I've met them at tournaments, and they are harmless. Basically, it's a lot of high school and college girls, and they just they're passionate. They don't want to see animals hurt, and that's their basic underlying premise. And if you are a person that likes to see animals being hurt or doesn't care if animals are hurt, you probably should seek some professional counseling, because nobody should want to see animals being hurt. They're not out to get rid of fishing. They just want their point to be made that we don't want to see, animals hurt. And I've had talks with them before, and I pointed out the fact that it's not the anglers that you guys need to target. It's these other individuals that I'm going to talk about here in the video. And then the other one always points out, oh, it's the liberals that want to get rid of our fishing. Guys, that's another bunch of crap out there. I know a bunch of liberals that are fanatical fishermen, and they would give their left nut to protect fishing, because they just absolutely love it. There's no truth to that. So this whole conversation that liberals and PETA are attacking fishing is just a bunch of crap. There's no truth to it, whatever. But I'm going to identify what are the two main culprits that everybody needs to wake up. Everybody needs to get their head out of the sand about, because this is the threats to fishing. The number one threat is we're going to talk about different sources of pollution in our waterways and our water quality. And the second is technology. And we're going to get into this in detail here. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about pollution. Pollution is one of the things that poses a gigantic threat to the future of fishing on any level. I don't care if it's in oceans, it's creeks, it's rivers or lakes or whatever. If you are really adamant about wanting to identify a villain and do something about it, then you need to really focus on these companies and the entities that are polluting our waters, oceans, lakes, and that type of stuff. And climate change issues. You guys have noticed, you probably saw the article this week that came out that the water temperatures, like for the first time off the coast of Florida, were in the 90s. Guys, this is devastating, because what this is going to do, this is one quick example, is effects of climate change. And I don't want to hear you guys saying, oh, the climate's been changing forever. That's a false talking point. What the point is, what I'm talking about here is that when you start having the coral reefs die off, not only do you threaten the entire ecosystem of the ocean, because that's part of the entire food chain and the cycle that allows the oceans to thrive, the ocean life to thrive, but from an economic perspective, you're talking about the entire fishing industry, whether it be recreational, diving, fishing, commercial fishing, recreational fishing. Once the coral reefs go and the fish leave that, then that's just a huge recipe for disaster. And that's just on the ocean level. And we all know about the miles and miles of trash that are floating in the ocean. I mean, it makes you sick. But other different things, let's get back closer to home here, as far as like in the waters we bass fish in. We are under assault from such a wide range of different source pollutions. Now, pollution comes in a wide range. There's one of the biggest aspects of pollution that affects bass fishing is agricultural pollution, whether it be from different type of agricultures, dog food plants, that type of stuff. When you have all these nutrients and, different type of increased nutrient levels being put into waters, what that does is it creates algae blooms, it creates different type of growth that's normally not natural to that body of water. You lose your water clarity, you start losing your oxygen, and it starts affecting the entire biological food chain from the smallest level up, just from the agricultural part of it. Then you get into areas, you have insecticides, you have pesticides, you have herbicides, all this type of stuff that is going into our water every single day. It permeates every aspect of the food chain. When you talk about minnows being affected by this and the predator fish eating it, and then the larger fish, it interrupts their biological cycles, their reproductive cycles. It puts toxins in the fish that affect other larger fish, then it affects the humans. And that's why every state in this country has some warning as far as eating fish because of mercury contamination in the waters out there. We all seen what have happened on lakes that have grass in it. All you guys in Florida are well versed at this. You guys have been fighting the chemical companies for years down there that come in there and want to freaking spray your entire lake and devastate the ecosystem. We've seen how Lake Okeechobee has been devastated by, herbicide and chemical spraying over the years. And I'll say one thing about Okeechobee, guys. Don't get sucked in. Do you hear all of these giant bags being caught at Lake Okeechobee? That's an isolated incident. Lake Okeechobee is a shadow of itself from what it was 40 or 50 years ago when the entire lake was open to fishing. Pretty much now Lake Okeechobee, 90% of it's a mud pit and 10% of it is where all the fish live at. So that gives you a false sense of better fishing there. But anyway, Florida has been devastated by the chemical companies over, the course of years. You got other things. You got fuel spills out there. You got any type of man-made activity that is contributing to polluting our waters. Guys, these are the villains out there. It's not PETA. It's not the liberals. These are the villains that are threatening not only the sustainability of the fishing that you love, but the quality of fishing, and not just the fishing, it's everything else connected to that. So if you want to point fingers and you want to do something, then you have to, make noise, call up or write your local congressman, make noise, tell them that you want this stopped, tell them that you don't want these companies just slapped on the wrist. They need to be shut down, or they need to have fined so severely that they will not pollute. But the problem that you have, and you can point more villains here, is guys, check the voting records of your congresspeople and your senators in your state. There is half of the congressional and House delegation in this country on a state level and a federal level that votes against, consistently votes against any type of legislation that either tries to mitigate pollution or tries to put regulations on companies that polluting. Check your voting records. Those are the villains, guys. Those half of the politicians in this country that freaking vote against any type of environmental legislation are affecting our fishing and the sustainability of the fisheries for future generations. So pollution is a big part of it. The second one, guys, is technology. You guys have heard me rail about technology forever. And you'll continue to hear me rail about it because it is a threat to the sustainability of our fisheries. Now, I don't say this, guys, just to hear myself talk and to get views and to get clicks and to get likes, because anytime I talk about environmental issues, there's a segment of my viewers out there that for whatever reason, they get bent out of shape and they get offended and they get, their panties in a wad and they unsubscribe to the channel because they don't like me talking about protecting our fisheries for future generations for whatever reason. I know the reasons, but that's just what they do. So I don't do this because it does not benefit my channel any. I do this because I have the principles of me having a platform to spread these issues out there to help the sustainability of fishing is what is important to me. When I'm dead and gone off this planet, whenever, at least I'll know that I fought the good fight. So it's not about the clicks and views. So anyway, let's talk about the technology aspect of it. Now, this is a complex issue because the technology part of it, the main part of it is electronic technology. We talked about a lot on the channel. simply because that makes people so efficient at catching fish. One of this is sort of a side issue a little bit, but one of the things that you can't discount in fishing is, think about it. If fishing loses the mystery, let's just say, for example, that there's no mystery left in fishing and everything is calculated, everything, you know what's going to happen, you know what's out there, there's no guesswork to it, and you're going to go out there every single time you go out there, or more than not, and catch fish. Is that where you want to be? I mean, think about it. It's just like the philosophical question, if you could play the lottery every single day and win it every day, eventually people think, well, that would be awesome. No, eventually that would turn into a living hell, because you don't want to do that every time. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, guys. You do not want to catch fish every time you go to the lake. You need to have days where you suck, and you need to have days where you struggle to catch fish, because what happens is that makes the times that you catch fish precious and important, and it makes it more powerful. And I'll use a prime example of like crappie fishing, guys. I've been into schools of crappie and even bass to some extent too, where it's every cast. Every cast you go out there, you catch one. And you know what happens? After a while, you get tired of it. It does not have the same power to it. It doesn't have the same thrill to it if you just catch fish every single time. The thing that makes fishing powerful and magical, and then we'll get into the more basic part of it, but the thing that makes fishing powerful is that mystery. You have got to have the mystery. And when technology begins to take the mystery away from fishing, you lose the power and the value of fishing. So this is why you guys hear me rail against forward-facing sonar all the time. We do not need to know what is out there in front of the boat 100 feet away from us. We don't need to know. We need to think about what could possibly be out there and go fishing and find out if it's there or not. We don't need to put down some electronic unit and scan out there and say, oh, there's nothing there, there's nothing there, there's nothing there. Oh, there's a fish there. That's an insult to the fish, is what it is. So from that standpoint, which that's not what we're talking about as far as the threat to the fishery, that's a threat to the inherent value of the fishing. The real threat to the fishery is, as electronic technology gets more advanced, we are going to be becoming so adept at catching fish that we're going to catch every freaking fish in the lake. Because don't think for 1 second, guys, that every person that has a live scope out there is some bass fisherman that is here to protect the sport and they're going to catch and release every fish they got. There's a bunch of meat hunters in this country, guys. There's a bunch of live scopers out there that they keep their limit every single day, and they'll continue to do so as long as they do it. They don't throw them back. They keep them all the time. And as technology gets more advanced and it gets in the hands of more people that don't have the catch and release mentality, you are going to see a degradation in the quality of the fishing. We've already seen it. Fishing is tougher now than it's ever been out there. So the point of the video, guys, if you want to point fingers, stop this illusion that PETA and liberals and all this type of just fluff is hurting fishing. That has nothing to do with it. They have zero effect on fishing. It's the companies out there that are polluting our waters. It's the technology that is out of hand. Those are the big villains, guys. Those are the things that we need to focus on. Those are the things that need to be regulated. Those are the things that need to be addressed. And it should be on the front page news, and it should be at the front of every fisherman's awareness out there. And if you don't agree with that, then you are in an information silo, because that is the reality of the situation, whether it hurts your feelings or not. And I challenge anyone out there to, counter that. I mean, that's just the way it is. So anyway, guys, I say this because I love fishing, man. I wouldn't be here. I've loved fishing since I was a little boy. I mean, there's nothing more. It's always been a huge part of my life, and I want to see it protected, man. I want to see it protected for future generations down the road. And guys, we are not doing that. We are doing a sucky job. The bass fishing community right now in the United States are sucky caretakers of our planet and our environment and our sustainability of our fishing, because we're so sidetracked with everything else that we're not paying attention to what's really going on real out there. So anyway, guys, that's just a few thoughts. Shoot me your opinion on it, and thanks for tuning in. See you.